Lesson number 9, add and subtract parts of a whole. So when you're adding or subtracting fractions, you need to have the same denominator. You need to have the same bottom number. And because what you're doing is those, when you have the same denominator, they're now equal parts of a whole. So for example, let's say I took, right here, let's say I made a little pizza. Okay. And if I'm looking here, my denominator is 6, which means there's 6 parts. Your denominator tells you how many parts there are. So let's see, I'm just go ahead and cut my pizza into 6 equal parts. Ignore the drawing. So looking here, let's say I have 4 out of 6. Again, 6 is my total parts. And so the denominator is the same, meaning the total parts are the same. So I'm going to use purple and say 4 out of 6. So here's 1 out of 6. Here's 2 out of 6. Here's 3 out of 6. And here's 4 out of 6, right? Because I got 4 pieces out of 6 total. Well, now I'm going to add that to 2 out of 6. So again, 6 is my total parts. I don't need to change anything. But now I'm going to take this part, that's 1 out of 6, and this is 2 out of 6. So the total parts haven't changed. Now all I do is add all my parts together. If I take the 4 purple parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I add them with the 2 green parts, 1, 2, I get 4 plus 2, which gives me 6 out of 6, or one whole pizza. One whole pizza. So 6 out of 6. Another example, I've got 1/4 plus 2/4. So I'm going to do the same thing again, right? I'm going to draw a pizza. Now, again, the 4 on the bottom is telling me how many parts. And since the 4s are the same, the denominator is the same, it means they have the same equal parts. So again, I'm going to take my pizza. All right, I'm going to make it into 4 equal parts. Now, I'm going to take my blue, or my purple, sorry. Now, the first one says 1 out of 4. So I'm just going to go ahead and color my 1 out of 4. That's one piece out of 4. If I look over here, the next one has 2 out of 4. So I'm going to color that's 1 out of 4. And that's 2 out of 4. So now all I do is add them together. My 1 out of 4 plus my 2 out of 4 gives me what? Well, 1, 2, 3 gives me 3, and the total pieces have not changed. So that gives me 3 out of 4. Let's look at the next problem. It says, which of the following is equal to 4 out of 5? Well, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw a picture again. All right. So again, this bottom number is telling me how many total pieces. So instead of a pizza, I'm going to just draw a bar here. All right, I'm going to draw a bar there. I'm going to split it into 5 equal parts. Again, the denominator is telling me how many parts there are. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. Again, just assume they're all equal. So I've got 5 equal parts here. Well, it's telling me that 4 of them are taken up. All right. Well, looking at my parts here, well, I've got 5 equal parts. So what would one part be? Well, one part would be 1 out of 5, right? I mean, the one number is telling me how many parts out of the total. So there's 5 total parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my bottom number is 5. So that one section there is 1 out of 5. Well, that second section would also be 1 out of 5, right? Because again, this is one piece, all right, out of the 5 total. So that means this would be also be 1 out of 5, and this would also be 1 out of 5, and this would also be 1 out of 5. So what I'm looking for is what is equal to 4 out of 5. All right, well, let me look at my 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 pieces right here, right? So there's 4 pieces right here. All right, that's my 4 out of 5. So if I look at it, all I'm doing is I'm taking this piece plus this piece plus this piece plus this piece. So I'm taking 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5. So 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 would equal 4 out of 5. Let's look at a subtraction problem. All right, same thing. All right, so again, this number on the bottom is telling me there's 8 total pieces. So, and again, the denominator is the same in this case for both of them. So I'm going to draw my pizza, and this time this like 8 is telling me there's 8 equal slices. So here's a pizza with 8 equal slices. Well, let's start with the first number. The first number is telling me that there are 6 out of 8. The 6 is telling me how many parts out of the total. So I'm just going to draw 6. There's 1, there's 2, right? There's 3, there's 4, there's 5, and then there's 6. So that's 6 out of 8. But this time I'm subtracting. So what's it telling me? I have to get rid of, I'm subtracting 3. So I started with 6 out of 8 pieces, but now I have to subtract 3 out of 8 pieces. So I'm going to go back over here. So I'm going to subtract 3 of them. So let's see, there's 1 gone. That's 1 out of 8 I subtracted. There's 2 out of 8 I subtracted. And there's 3 out of 8 I subtracted. So what am I left with? Excuse all the smudges. Well, if I look at my pizza now, I've got 1, 2, 3. I'm left with 3 out of 8 pieces. 6 minus 3 gives me 3 pieces. So the denominator doesn't change. The total pieces haven't changed. Just the pieces inside have changed. So if I take 6 out of 8 pieces and I subtract 3 out of 8 pieces, I'm left with 1, 2, 3, 3 out of 8 pieces.